Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. Welcome in a Wednesday edition. Hope you are well. I know there's some severe weather rolling throughout the state of Wisconsin. So be safe. Make sure your weather alerts are on and all that fun stuff. I saw something that I was kind of blown away by. I saw one of the local stations that is going to be carrying World Cup soccer pretty much say that they're not potentially going to be able to maybe cut into World Cup coverage. So you'll have to be able to watch it on their local app locally, which if that's the case, maybe I misunderstood. But if that's the case, that's wild. Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to talk about having restrictions on, okay, we're going to sign this gigantic deal, but no weather break-ins are allowed. You can't break into our programming for weather alerts. You're going to have to figure out some other way to tell people. I thought that was pretty wild. I mean, I get the World Cup's important and all, but still.
Well, and even so, I think because you have so many people watching it, that should make it more of a public safety kind of thing to have the weather break-ins during moments like that. Well, it's because you would think that like 2 out of every 5 households at least are tuned into the World Cup at any given time.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be like around here, but there's probably going to still be high viewership, obviously. Plus it's, it's here, it's in Mexico, it's all over. So a kind of a home deal for the World Cup. U.S. soccer team probably won't be very good, but either way, we'll talk some World Cup as we get going through that a little bit. It's not going to be World Cup Central from 2 to 5, however. I can guarantee you is not going to happen on this show.
It's more going to be us learning about the World Cup as it happens here,
Yeah, I'm pretty much familiar with.
I just mean like this year's World Cup, with the teams and stuff. Yeah,
with the international stuff. I follow Team USA men. I follow Team USA women's soccer teams. Have for the last several years, decade or so. So I'm somewhat versed in it. Maybe not, like I am Brewers, Bucks, or Packers, but somewhat versed. So we'll get into that as we go. On today's show, guest free, again, potentially. Now, I will say I did reach out for one specific person, Paul Brettel, and maybe we'll get Paul Brettel on. He is obviously covering Packers minicamp today. They had practice earlier today. Then they get locker room and all that fun stuff. So if he has time, maybe we'll get Paul Brettel on between now and 5 o'clock. I want to start off first talking about last night again. Now, last night, Brewers, A's, wasn't really home run derby and a ton of runs scored like the previous night. I mean, the Brewers, they had a little power.
Fly ball right field. Back at the wall. It's gone. A 2-run homer for Jackson Churio. He goes the opposite way. Home run number 5 for Churio.
Can I just quickly give props to Jeff Levering?
Sure.
I mean, you were here. You were probably didn't have the sound on all the time or whatever the case may be. Did you notice anything last night during the broadcast?
I'm trying to think. Tommy was mad about, or no, you were mad about him giving away the ABS challenges, weren't you?
I did not see it happen much at all.
I don't think I did
night.
either.
Nope.
Well, the ABS challenge was like broken partway through the game
one
too,
time.
So, yeah.
Yes, correct. It happened. And I forgot their manager's name. Who's the manager over there now? Played for the Brewers too. The outfielder. I can't think of his name.
Right?
Mark Kotze. He came out. It was like twice. That's twice now, essentially. Now he thinks they got screwed on that second one. There's no chance they did. They were going to lose that one anyhow. So they saved him a challenge. But it was very noticeable to me that he was not giving it away. He was letting it play out and do it. And I personally enjoyed it. I don't know about everybody else, but there was a little bit of drama to see what happened. And I was like, okay, this is what it should be like. This is what it should sound like. I was very, very pleased. Very, very happy by it. And I'm probably like me and who was the other guy? There was another guy in West Dallas that was complaining about the same thing. Said he messaged the team about the exact same thing before I even brought it up. So very happy to see that's done. But Jackson Churio home run there, highlight courtesy of Brewers TV. And when he hit that, I'm like, oh, because, the big thing last night, the first couple of bats was, whoa, he's using that axe bat of Gary Sanchez's and he's going to see how it goes. Well, he hits that home run, obviously, and Churio's like laughing. Sanchez, I don't think was even up in the dugout at that point. And then, eventually they mess around wherever else. Next time up, Churio gets out, and that was the end of the axe bat and Sanchez's bat. Didn't use it again after that went back to his bat. Now, there were some hard hit balls, right? Garrett Mitchell had some hard hit balls in that game last night for sure. Churio had at least two other hard hit balls besides that home run, where one was a liner to center field where the guy, came up on it and made a nice play. The other one was another line out. So there were hard hit balls for sure, but you didn't see 4 or 5 home runs, let's say, from the Brewers. But you did see that from the Athletics. You did see them continue to act like home run derby. Now, night one, it was Harrison. And we all said, no big deal. It's the conditions. It's the park. Let's not overblow this with Harrison. Let's just move on. I don't know, man. Like last night you watched that game. You didn't see the ball flying over the fence like crazy for the Brewers, but you continued to see it with the Athletics. And Pat Murphy pretty much said that he's got to figure out kind of like what's going to be his pitch that's going to get a guy out. What's that get out of jail free card that you're going to have in your back pocket to get out of jail with. But they continue to hit home runs, whether it's Gasser, Coleman Crow, whoever it was. They were tagging that ball. My question is quite simple. Do you chalk these home runs up allowed in the last 2 days to the park? That's it. It's like, I'm not worried about Harrison. I'm not worried about the pitchers giving up all these home runs. They'll be fine. They'll come home and play the Phillies this weekend, Sparky, back at American Family Field. We won't see home run derby anymore with our pitchers. This is just a freak thing because of the smaller ballpark and so forth, and being in Las Vegas. That's what it is. Is that all it is for you? Or are you a little concerned about what this pitching has looked like here the last couple of days for the Brewers? Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Stream us live at WI Sports Radio on Instagram Live, on X, and on YouTube. When you're on YouTube, smash the like button and subscribe. And then, of course, streaming live on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page, too. I will tell you that after game one, I was like, it's the park, whatever. And yesterday, before we got off the air, I told Shaw, I was like, so 13, 14 runs, each. How crazy is this going to be? I was like, no, it's not going to be like that.
I said 8-6, so I'm so mad it ended 7-5.
Yeah, you were right there. And it definitely came back. There was still offense for sure, but it wasn't what it was the night before, at least not from the Brewers' perspective, like it was from the Athletics' perspective. And that's what got me to thinking, like, how much of this really is just our guys not making pitches potentially in the last 2 games, as much as maybe it is about the stadium itself. Now, you and Tommy were doing the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show last night. What was your reaction to that game last night?
Watching that game, and I said this to Tommy last night too on the postgame show, it feels like sometimes that a lot of these other pitchers around Jacob Mizorowski and even Kyle Harrison to this point, because he's been able to be really aggressive in the zone too. But Jacob Mizorowski and Kyle Harrison have this ability to just stay aggressive in the zone throughout an entire at-bat. I think when you get into the Robert Gassers and the Joel Kuhnels, and I know he's only been here for 2 games, but you can already start to see the same kind of patterns you've seen in other relievers with him. They get really aggressive early on in at-bats, and then it feels like they don't know how to finish those at-bats when they get up ahead and get aggressive. And then they start missing the zone really bad with these off-speed pitches that they don't feel like they have as much command over. And then they end up in a 3-2 count, and then they feel like they have to really attack the zone again, and you find a pitch right down the middle. And when you have a team like the A's who, in my mind, play offense the way that Jacob Mizorowski pitches, which is just full go 100% of the time. They're swinging 100% with full power on every swing, which sometimes can lead to that first game where they have 20 strikeouts as a team. And then in this game where it feels like they're adding 5 home runs, it's a home run every other at bat for the A's. You get this moment where if you end up getting a little bit unsure of yourself and they're as confident in their approach, you're going to get behind. And then when that happens, the Brewers bats, I think, all of a sudden become way too aggressive. And you get late in these games where you have the A's relief pitchers that are just mowing down the Brewers because they just keep swinging at every single pitch because the bats feel like they have to pick up for the pitching when the pitching is stuttering a little bit when they normally don't.
Yeah, and I think that is all true, really, at the end of the day. I think the other part of it, too, is going into that game, what their adjustment was to what they saw in game one from a game plan as far as how we're going to attack these guys and how we're going to change maybe the ballpark and what we witnessed last night. You would think the Athletics made that adjustment on their side of, okay, we're going to pitch this like we're in Colorado. We didn't know we were in Colorado, but this is actually worse than Colorado. So we're going to treat this like we're pitching against the Rockies. And because, again, I think the game planning probably does get affected. And we should have asked Tim Dillard this on Monday when we were talking about the Rockies, but I think the game planning probably does get affected a little bit when you're talking about going against an opposing lineup as far as what pitches work, what pitches don't work. And when the ball is carrying as well as it was in Las Vegas, even though there's not the high altitude like it is in Colorado, you would think that game plan changes.
It probably does, but I also think that can kind of throw off a pitcher, can kind of throw off a lineup if you're changing it that quickly because you just didn't expect that from the first game. Whereas I don't think the A's really went into the second game with a different approach, either on the mound or with the bats. Yep. They came in with a very similar approach. I think that's because they know this is not going to be the stadium they're going to be playing in. I think when you go to Colorado, you're right. You have to change your game plan a little bit because they are always playing at Coors Field. You know that's the stadium you're going into. I think the A's know this is a 6-game series at this stadium and that we don't have to play here all the time. Let's just go out and try to hit bombs because it seems like that's what's working really well. That's what we do all the time anyways. Let's just keep doing that. And the Brewers went in thinking that they could go in with a different kind of approach, freak out a little bit, and now all of a sudden you kind of have to reset. I think Game 3 today will go a little bit better for the Brewers because now you have an extra day of this new approach and you feel more comfortable.
Do you check the home runs allowed to the park only the last couple of days, or do you concerned maybe about this pitching from the 262? I think baseball is a very streaky sport where you are going to see everyone at some point slump or not do their best. I'll give it a few more series before I get worried. I think that is the rational approach. Now, for me, I'm looking at it going, okay, like Kyle Harrison, you're going to get Game 3 of the Phillies. Just pitch well in that game, and then we can just either you could literally say, whatever. It is what it is. Like that. To me, that doesn't count. And the crazy part about it is because of how stacked the NL is, that could potentially cost him an all-star bid. It's probably going to cost him any type of Cy Young consideration, just that one bad outing, unless some of these other guys. Like in a dream scenario, I think you want the Brewers to get Sanchez and you want the Brewers to drop 6 on him. Right? You want to be the team that blows up his ERA. It says, oh, look, he is mortal after all, for 2 reasons. One, it helps Mizorowski's Cy Young candidacy and the potential to start a game in the All-Star game. And 2, it helps Harrison stay in the Cy Young race if Sanchez's ERA now goes up because the Brewers get to him. What you do not want to have happen is Sanchez dominates the Brewers and Mizorowski gets blown up by the Phillies. And then you have that to consider. From the 262, Scotty Tiffany, I'm wondering if the Brewers' batting confidence will be bolstered with all the home runs and if it will break them through the previous home run slump. That would be something of a legit thing. This is how I think of the Brewers. And I don't know if, as Brewers fans, you all feel the same way. I've always felt the warmer and stickier it gets outside, the more the ball travels inside American Family Field. It just does, right? Roof is open, back panels are open, it's sticky and hot, and that ball just jumps. Poof, poof. And then all of a sudden, you see numbers start going. Think about Terang. He got 10 home runs when? In August. Now, back in the day, that was tornado season in Wisconsin. Now, tornado season apparently starts in like May and goes all summer, as we're now, hopefully trying to avoid tornadoes again here the next couple of days. But that is when he got going. And I think that's what it's been for the Brewers the whole time. I would expect the power numbers to start to jump here when they come back home and kind of going forward the rest of the summer. From the, let's see, where is this? The 503, Sparky, come on. That park is a joke. The problem is that the Brewers are a contact hitting team, while the A's so obviously looking to elevate the baseball. The Brewers are uniquely unsuited to this embarrassment of a ballpark. We can't get out of here soon enough. I agree with can't get out of there soon enough. I don't think I'm going to call it an embarrassment of a ballpark. It's a minor league ballpark. It would be like taking these 2 teams, putting them in Appleton and say, go play there where the Timber Rattlers play.
I think it's a little bit different. Tommy and I were looking at the minor league team that plays in this ballpark.
The Aces?
Last night.
Is that what it is?
The Aces and the Aviators, excuse me. The Aviators. They were playing the Aces this past series that they had at this stadium. The last game, I think, was 4-2 that they played, but the game before that, the score was 24-10. And that was the second game in that 5-game series that both teams scored double-digit runs.
But and again, I'm sorry, I was sleeping last night. What are the starting ERAs for the starting pitching rotation for that Aviators team? Like, are they all at like 5 and up, where it's just constant offense all the time in this park, and that's a problem? Or are there some pitchers in that rotation that, obviously have decent numbers?
Yeah, so if we look at the pitching, the rotation, they're all kind of looks like they're above 4 right now. They're 2 qualified pitchers that they have so far to start the season. Cade Morris has a 4.45 ERA in 11 games started, and Joey Estes has a 5.95 ERA in 12 games started. Cade Morris has given up 8 home runs on the season. Joey Estes has given up 11 home runs on the season.
Yeah, that's a lot. No question about that. Yeah, but again, I don't know enough about minor league ballparks and where that ranks as far as home runs allowed and all that other stuff, like you do Major League Baseball when they talk about it. Back to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Do you chuck the home runs allowed up to the park or something else here the last couple of days? 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Dugout chat available for you as well. And already we have a message over there.
We got Mile High Ty saying it's not just like Appleton. The field conditions are terrible. The elevation is much different. The air is dry. Curveballs don't curve and sliders don't slide. And that could be an explanation for why it felt like when they were trying to do a lot of those off-speed pitches, they were missing the zone a lot in the second half of that game. If the pitches aren't moving nearly as much as you would expect, you'd get caught like that.
That's a good point. From where are we going now? The 608, the Brewers' weakness got exposed, and it's not pitching. The ballpark dimension is the same for both teams. How can the team with the second best record in baseball get schooled on home runs by a team with a losing record? The Brewers had chances driving runs, but couldn't get the job done. The Brewers win on pitching and defense. Can't count on the long ball from the 608. 1,000%. Absolutely. I mean, they've had guys on base for all 5 of these games on the West Coast trip. Whether it be Colorado, whether it be the series against Athletics, they're getting guys on base on a relatively consistent basis. Now, there were times last night, was there 2 innings where they got struck out in order? They struck out the side.
So, yeah.
I think there was 2 innings where the Athletics struck out the Brewers in order to go 1, 2, 3 in an inning. But yes, they definitely missed opportunities in that game last night to do something about it.
So the top of the 8th, Vaughn grounded out. So Mitchell and Frelick struck out to start out the inning. And then same with the top of the 9th, Hamilton and Yelich struck out. Churio lined out to end the game.
414 says, I looked it up further. Las Vegas AAA team has a home ERA of 6.28. Oh my goodness. I mean, Tim Dillard pitched in Colorado Springs. You hear him talk about the horror stories of not wanting to wish that on his worst enemy having a pitch there. It doesn't sound like this is much better in Las Vegas.
No, it feels like just kind of over in this area in general, you're going to get kind of screwed like that. The A's, they're just going to have to find mashers for the rest. As long as they're in Vegas, they're going to have to find dudes like Nick Kurtz, Shane Langeliers all throughout their lineup.
You brought up Joe Kuhnel earlier, and this has been talked about, but I want to emphasize it again in case people haven't been watching the games or whatever the case may be. Kuhnel comes over here from the Athletics, and his velocity increase is stupid. Like, in the 2 games that he's pitched, it is insane. You're seeing the different pitches go up from 90.8 to 92. His fastball from 94.5 to 98 in both games. Again, it's gone up. Then his other pitches have gone up. Let's see, what is this? 2.5, 4.5, 2.5, almost 5 miles an hour on that one. The one fastball went up to 99.6. I mean, he just got here. What is going on? What are they feeding them? What are they doing to get that type of increase? I mean, if you're an Athletics fan, you've got to be just shaking your head going, he literally just got there and now all of a sudden he's Superman and throws this hard.
Well, and
crazy.
I think, again, like I noted before, his control isn't all there all times right now.
He's going to give up home runs.
He's going to get there. He's going to get to that point where he's going to kind of get back to, I think, what you've normally seen from him. But just because they just traded for him, I don't think that means Chris Hook hasn't been watching film on this
Oh,
guy,
yes.
and they've been scouting him through the
Yes.
A's development and what they're doing with him, and they can see the little tiny things that he needs to fix. Whether it's he can get a little more extension when he's throwing the ball, because that's what Jacob Mizorowski does, and that's how he gets so fast on some of his pitches. Maybe it's just the arm angle he's throwing with. They notice those types of things, and if you know it's just one little tweak that maybe he can work on throughout a series like this, where maybe it doesn't matter as much because you're in this home run box, that you have to just go out there and throw as hard as you can with the little tweaks that we have, and we can get you there. If that's all it takes sometimes, and I think that is all it takes sometimes, then the Brewers are just the best at it.
Larry in Wauwatosa using the Nicolay Law Talking text line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. A week ago, we were calling this one of the greatest pitching rotations in Brewers history. I don't think I said that. Cy Young Award and an embarrassment of riches. Now we're worried about the pitching depth and quality. It's a long season, fellas. Let's see how it goes these next few weeks. Larry in Tosa. I agree with you. Yes, totally. I'm just saying, after game one, we gave them carte blanche and said, don't even worry about it. But then you come back with different pitchers in that game last night, and they're still going up long balls. Now, tonight is game 3. An early game. It's an 8 o'clock start. So 7 o'clock leadoff show tonight with Tommy Wirtz. And then after the game's done, make the switch right here to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Charlie Usen and Tommy Wirtz tonight. And then Tim Allen, who's there going to these games, he'll be back on Friday as the Brewers get ready to take on the Phillies at American Family Field. Miz to the mound. And don't forget, the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network just got bigger. Welcome to the city of Madison. You can now listen to the Fan in Madtown on 94.9 HD2, your favorite local shows each weekday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Plus, the best in Brewers coverage with the leadoff show and the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Keep it tuned to 94.9 HD2 when you're listening to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network in Madison. Coming up next, Packers minicamp, day number 2 today. We'll talk about some of what we saw on social media, and Paul Brettel will join us from the Wisconsin State Journal coming up at 3:20. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Wendy's invented the iconic spicy chicken sandwich. Wendy's new spicy chicken sandwich is crispier and more flavor-packed than ever. And the breading, even crispier. Flavor inside, loud outside. 9 peppers and spices give it that bold, layered heat. Wendy's spicy chicken. Order in the Wendy's app today. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk a little bit about Packers mini camp from earlier today. But before we do, let's check in with our guy, Matt in Madison, where we are now live with a fan in Madison on 94.9 HD2 on your car radio. Matt, what's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. You were talking about how the Brewers fixed Joe Kuno, but if you look at, I just wanted to add, if you look at Freddie Peralta just got blown up yesterday again, and his numbers are really, really bad. So yeah, just it's a little crazy what they do. Like a pitcher could come in, do amazing, he leaves, he does terrible.
Yeah.
Or
they leave and they get hurt. He leaves, Burns gets hurt. They leave, Hader gets hurt. Like it has not been a good go for the most part for these guys once they leave. I mean, Hauser had a part of a year with the White Sox, and now looks like Adrian Hauser again since then. You really haven't had anybody leave and do better somewhere else.
Yeah, and Devin Williams, obviously.
That's another one.
It's a little crazy what Chris Huck can do to anyone.
And then what he does, and then they forget, apparently.
He could probably take me and you and turn us into major league pitchers.
No, he couldn't, Matt. Thanks for the call. I mean, no, he can't.
Come on, I think you got it.
No.
Mm-mm. You could be like Eric Gagne was short. You could be like him.
What do you mean Eric Gagne is short? I'm 5'6". Laura just signed at 5'7". Jed Williams is 5'7".
You could be a pro player.
Frelick is what, 5'9", 5'10", something like that, whatever Sal Frelick is. I mean, they're all about short guys in the Brewers organization.
Yeah, they could make it work.
As Murphy said last night, they were talking about, in fact, do we have that audio of him talking about Lara?
Yeah.
Here, listen to Murphy talk about Lara yesterday, because, that Lara deal became official, the extension for him. And then they had, and I don't see it again. I'm sorry. Right that's all right. No, I'm not. See,
that's always what happens.
That's all it is. But see, now you're like, you're not in the right day sound folder, you knucklehead. Here is Murphy talking about Luis Lara, because it became official with the Brewers. They sent out the press release. Okay, here's the extension, $30-some million, a chance to get all the way up to, I think, in the $75 million range or so ever. Check this out. Murphy talking about Lara.
It's fun to watch him play. He like Jackson, has a smile on his face. And like I said, he exudes passion. And, switch hitter. I think, he's got a future.
Murph, those guys that aren't big guys but play like they are, I mean, is it fair to say that you have kind of a soft spot for that type of player?
Yeah, I do.
Can I just say something else about this? This Brewers team specifically,
sure.
You do realize they have the tallest beat writer staff in the country, right? I mean, Hogue is tall. Rosiak is tall. McKelvey is tall. They're all tall. Jack Stern, another tall guy. Like, these guys are all tall. There are no short guys like me in the beat writer staff. So all these poor 5'7" guys like me, I mean, they're going to be like looking down at these dudes, like interviewing them and so forth. So, McKelvey talking about how small they are.
Your true calling was to be a Brewer, Sparky. It wasn't to be in media.
I think everyone does. You want to pull for the, quote, underdog, so to speak,
The underdog, because he's short. See, that's what I mean. You're an underdog. You know what? He's right. Right? I mean, I don't think he's being mean-spirited or anything like that. But immediately in sports, first of all, 5'7" dude in the NBA, it's probably not happening. Like Muggsy Bogues, Spug Webb, right? I mean, there's not many guys that are that small. How big is Alvarado? How tall is he?
He's 5'10", I want to say.
Because he's short too compared to everybody else on the floor. Jose Alvarado in the NBA. So he's 6 foot. And he looks smaller than that. So, I mean,
your guy needs 6'2". I don't know why I thought he was shorter.
So you definitely have smaller guys in the Major League Baseball than you do in other sports. Like, you're not going to have a 5'7" corner, like 5'9" corner. And the Green Bay Packers for years are like, nope, not doing that anymore. Nope, we've been burned too many times by having short corners. So even that is tough. 5'7"? They're not playing in the National Football League at 5'7", right?
Keyshawn Nixon's 5'10", so they've kind of gone away from that a little bit.
Yes, a 5'7", not a thing. How tall was Darren Sproles? Sproles was
he was
smaller dude too. Is Sproles? I don't think he's 5'7" though. I think
he's still taller.
I don't think he's 5'7".
He is. Oh no, he's 5'6".
Okay,
so there you go.
You have a couple of guys that maybe be able to make it work, but you can definitely in baseball get away with these guys that are shorter and can make a run. But at the end of the day, you still need all the taller guys that have more power to fill out the rest of your roster. Can you have 9 guys at 5'7" and win a championship? Doubt it. Highly, highly doubt it. And I would assume that the Brewers and others would agree with me on that.
Well, and even in baseball, I still think it's a taller hill to climb than if you're Jake Bauers. I think if Jake Bauers was 5'7", the Brewers would have gave up on him a couple of years ago. And I think because he has the size and the frame to be what he is right now and start hitting for power more often, they were able to give that a chance for a longer period of time. I still think you have trouble getting to this point. So the fact that the Brewers have so many of these guys who are considered shorter that are being able to succeed as baseball players is still pretty impressive.
Charlie, Jake Bauers is what, 6'2", something like that? He's been given up on by several teams at that size. Don't even have to worry. He wouldn't even be considered to be in the league at this point at 5'7".
That's what
he
I'm
never
saying.
would have got to the second team probably in Major League Baseball. He's 5'7". So when you have your chance, you got to go get it. And they said, Lara said in his interview earlier, they have a translator speaking for Lara in the presser that they had earlier today. Lara said they've been working on this deal for the last 2 weeks, trying to get this extension done with the Milwaukee Brewers. And again, if you're Lara, you absolutely have to sign it, because if this power surge that he's had for the last 2 weeks, if this ends up not being real, whatever. But this is all guaranteed money. It's not the NFL where I'm going to lose out on a bunch of money. I'm guaranteed $30+ million. And when I'm done, I can retire and be happy and not ever have to worry about anything again. And as Cooper Pratt pointed out, like there's just some pressure that's lifted off of your shoulders once your financial future is pretty much set. I mean, again, you can't blow it, right? Like Mike Tyson. Oh my goodness. Did you see that video going around?
I haven't, no.
I think he said at his peak in boxing, he made like $200 million, and he was down to like his last million or two or something like that, and kind of had blown through all of it.
I can't even fathom spending that much money. Like I can't fathom having that much money in the first place, but to spend that much money, I don't even know what I would buy.
So again, if you're responsible, right, you should be pretty much set kind of going forward just on that deal where you don't got to worry about how am I going to pay my electric bill? How am I going to make my car payment? How am I going to pay taxes on my house? Like all of those, that all goes out the window. Again, if you're responsible and kind of going forward with it. All right, take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. We'll talk briefly about Packers minicamp. Again, we'll get more into it, Paul Brettel, coming up at 3:20. But let me tell you about my fine folks over there at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. There's a big food menu filled with a bunch of new items, all-day brunch with steak and eggs, a steak and bagel sandwich, pancakes, and more. Wisconsin-style appetizers that feature a lot of cheese, of course. It's got all things chicken like wings and tenders. Build your own burger. Desserts highlighted by the MVP Turtle Sundae. Tons of cold beverages to go with your all-star meal. Must be 21 to enter the casino. Bet above the rest. And don't forget, the crew returns home Friday to take on Philadelphia. They have their shuttles to and from the games going right from the Potawatomi Sportsbook, so you can pay for free right there in their parking garage. And then you have to do a purchase inside the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I think it's $5 or more inside the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So if you get something to drink or whatever, tell them that you can take the shuttle. They give you a little bracelet or whatever to wear, and you're good to go. It makes the most sense in the whole wide world. And if you have to do $5, put $5 on the Brewers to win, right? And then if you win, you come back, you get your $5 back and a little something else to go along with it. Or
you can listen to Tommy's parlay from the leadoff show, because he's been pretty on fire with that over the past couple of days.
The other day he had, what was it? A Perkins hit and a Sanchez home run?
Sanchez home run and the Brewers money line, I think, too.
Goodness gracious. He's been on a little bit of a roll right now. So we'll talk more about Packers, mini camp. Coming up next, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Hughes, producing the show today, doing just a special job like he always does over there on the other side of the glass. Don't forget, catch Charlie Hughes and along with Chuck Garbedian on golf Saturday mornings from 7 till 9 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. College Sports Weekly, Don Wachillis, Dan Underberg from 9 to 11. And the Badgers have been just killing it on the football recruiting trail. I did not hear this last Saturday show. Did they touch on Badgers football recruiting this last Saturday?
We did not. It was just Don this past Saturday. Dan had an event at his tap house that he works at. So it's just Don. We were really getting into a lot of this national discussion. We talked baseball, softball, all the national championship stuff that was happening there. This week, I think it's going to be very Brendan Sorsby heavy, at least for 1 to 2 segments, because they already were texting me about it the other night when all the news broke. So they were going to talk about that, but I'm sure we're going to get into some Badgers recruiting then too.
You poor sap. So you've got me texting you at all hours, and now they're texting you too, and you're in a little group chat with them?
Yep. Sparky, that's the job, I guess, man.
Yeah, I know.
See, sometimes I wish I started when you started, because you didn't have the cell phones for them to bother you as much sometimes. But you get used to it. Yeah, you get used to it. Yeah, you are absolutely right about that. Okay, so the Packers mini camp it's going up on in Green Bay, and we'll hear from Paul Bridle coming up at 3:20, and then we get to the Green and Gold update at 4:00. Jordan Love said something yesterday that I missed until I was off the air last night, and I saw it. I was like, what is this all about? So definitely going to get into a Jordan Love quote from yesterday. But today at training camp practice, again, so many guys you could follow, right? Paul Bridle, who's coming up, Ryan Wood, Matt Schneidman, Andy Herdman, Tom Silverstein. There's so many guys you can follow as far as what's going on at these training camp practices. So I just normally, pull up one of them and go. So Andy Herdman, I pull up today. So starters in team: Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs. Right.
So we
Standard,
good?
Yeah.
Are we good on Josh Jacobs? Are we? I mean, I heard Josh bring this up the other day inside Wisconsin Sports. Are we good? Are we just moving forward and we're done worrying about this and we just go? Is that where we're at?
I think it kind of has to be in the back of your mind until something definitive comes out about what's happening with it. Until then, I mean, he's on the field at practice. I guess you just kind of have to take it as it goes, one day at a time with this.
A play early in practice. Wild play early in practice. Love rolls all the way left, throws across his body to the right, an absolute dime downfield to Jaden Reed, who outraced Edgerrin Cooper for a 70-ish yard touchdown. Big time throw from Jordan Love. I have a follow-up. Why is Edgerrin Cooper running with Jaden Reed to begin with?
I mean, maybe a blown coverage. I saw.
My goodness.
I think it was the same play. It was tweeted from Ryan Wood, I believe. He had mentioned Evan Williams was part of that coverage too. So it might have just been the zone on the backside of that scheme.
I mean, Edgerrin Cooper can run now. I'm not doubting how fast.
If it's a zone and that's just over your zone running, I think that's probably the situation we were looking at.
Couple plays later, the defense gets it back. Love tries to hit Watson the outside and left, slightly short. Bullard underneath and jumps to pick it off. It would be nice if Bullard could come up with 5 or 6 interceptions this year and really take another step in his progression. You saw Xavier McKinney his first year take the step. Evan Williams, if he can stay healthy, I think we all believe he can be a stud. Javon Bullard has shown playing in that slot nickel cornerback role that he is good, but they need more turnovers. And I look at him and think maybe that's a guy where you can get some additional turnovers from where you haven't seen it in the past.
You could, but also I think you still have to go back to Xavier McKinney and say that first half of that first season with the Packers where you were just unbelievable, unconscious when it came to getting interceptions, turning the ball over. I know we've talked about teams just don't throw at him as much, but if Jonathan Gannon can find ways to use him in a Budda Baker style role or even a Javon Bullard in that Budda Baker style role, that should lead to more turnovers by that guy being more in those mid-zone type of schemes where they can make a play on the ball. I think it's just one of those guys, including Evan Williams, has to start being a turnover machine for an entire season, not just half of it.
No, and that's fair. I don't disagree with you at all, but I think that has to be a goal of Jonathan Gannon coming into the season is where and how do we create more turnovers? Is it, practicing strip sacks? Is it practicing, that peanut punch where you're punching the ball out of a receiver's hand from behind or running back's hand? Or are you simply relying on your DBs to get more interceptions? Maybe it's getting your hands up more on the defensive line to bat balls up in the air and give your linebackers a chance or your defensive lineman a chance to catch deflections. And, all of those things are areas in which I think you could say the Packers could stand to improve at this point.
Oh, 100%. I think that was one of the biggest issues for this team last season throughout the entirety of the year. I know we had problems with the cornerbacks in the second half of the year and the pass rush in the second half of the year, but throughout the whole year, it just didn't feel like they were able to force those turnovers, especially in key moments when they really did need that type of play to either keep them going with the momentum or change the momentum. It just didn't feel like they were able to execute those types of defensive plays. This year has to be a change with that.
Also, field goal kicking. Our guy, Andy Herman, Lucas Haversack, 8 of 8 on the day. If Haversack beats out this dude,
what are you going to do, Sparky?
I'm not going to be pleased. I'm just telling you. I just hope it works. Whoever they end up with, right? Whether it's Smack or Haversack, it doesn't matter to me really who it ends up being. Just please don't let it be week 8 and we're all going, they've cost us 3 games. Or they've cost the Packers 2 games, and now the scramble drill is on to find somebody in the free agent market that's like 40 to try to come back in here and kick.
There's this really great kicker, Brandon McManus, out on the free agent market.
You imagine if that happens, where it's week 8, McManus is out there, it's a disaster, and Brian Gutekunst has to call up his agent and be like, we'd really like to have Brandon back. And McManus just laughs and says, exactly. Well, it's going to be double what you were going to pay me now. Because now you need me. You never should have drafted a kicker to begin with. And now you want me back. Wonder how that works. Yeah, you don't want to be in that position. You do not. And I guarantee you, Brian Gutekunst does not want to be in that position. He'd be like, no.
I think he'd sign anybody else or try to sign anybody else. That'd be just tail between your legs. You can't do that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Also, some news on Tucker Kraft that I found interesting. Tucker Kraft telling the beat reporters he plans on playing in week 1. He's ready to go. So that's a huge get because I think for most of the offseason, we all thought that Tucker Kraft and Micah Parsons probably would start on PUP and then eventually come back week 5, week 6, somewhere in that area. Tucker Kraft telling guys, hey, I'm ready to go week 1. Let's go. I'm not going to have to start over there on the sidelines. That's a big damn deal for this offense because now it gives you even a better chance of finally having healthy Christian Watson, healthy Tucker Kraft on the field at the same time from the jump. And as we've talked about, the first 4 games, you have every opportunity to go 3-1, 4-0 based on the teams on your schedule right now, Charlie. And this offense can really start cooking before you get to the Bears and the tougher part of your schedule like the Cowboys.
Yeah, this is huge. And if the only thing I guess I get a little bit worried about, this is Tucker Kraft saying he anticipates week 1. This isn't Matt LaFleur saying that, so there could be some kind of miscommunication there. You don't want the Brandon McManus situation all over again where there's miscommunication between the head coach. And then 2, I know I'm not the doctor. I know I'm not Tucker Kraft. I know I'm not Matt LaFleur. At the same time, doesn't this feel a little fast? Doesn't this feel quick for a guy who's had injuries in the past throughout his career? As excited as we get, this is something that I guess I get a little worried that we could see more recurring injuries if he's not taking the right precautions. But if they say he's good to go, he's good to go.
Yep. I'm not letting myself go there. I've went there too many times and been right in the past 2 years with Matt LaFleur and rushing guys back from injury. I'm not allowing myself to worry about Tucker Kraft. I'm just not. You want to know why? Because I don't like to worry. And when you get into a car accident and you're hurt and your car's damaged and you have to go to the hospital or a doctor and you got medical bills piling up, you don't want to worry either. You don't want to be stressed either. And that's all you are. Talking from somebody that's been through it, that's all you are. Again, mine was like a decade ago, but again, that's the deal. So Habish, and Rotier, that's where you go. They've been doing it since 1930. 13 locations around this beautiful state of Wisconsin, serving a bunch of people in different Wisconsin communities, whether it's Wausau, whether it's Fox Valley, Green Bay, and Appleton, whether it's in Madison right there where the fan Madison is carrying us right now. Want to know why? Because they're approachable and they are going to bust their tail ends for you because you will be their most important case at that time. Habish, and Rotier, national reputation, hometown service. Check them out at habish.com. Let's talk more about the crew coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brandon Woodruff, topic next.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in hour number 2 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen producing. Other side of the glass. Bob Bridle comes up, Wisconsin State Journal, ESPN Lacrosse. He comes up in the next segment to give us his thoughts on what he's witnessed the last 2 days up in Green Bay and Lambeau Field and the practice fields around there for Packers minicamp. So he'll join us in the next segment. Charlie, sounds of the day. If I don't talk to Paul Bridle too long, that'll be coming up at 3:40. And then the 4 o'clock hour got their green and gold update. Things Sparky missed. So lots to get to still here on today's show. Do we have the poll question up?
We do have poll question.
We have a poll question up. I'll probably get to this at 4:20. The poll question, I'll let Charlie read it because I don't know if he changed what we had talked about. So go ahead. What do you got?
So the question is, Bucks fans, if Tyler Hero ends up being the centerpiece coming back to Milwaukee in a Giannis trade, how would you feel? I put 4 options on that poll. The first option is yes, bring him home. The second one is okay, willing to try it. Third option is not great, but not awful. And the fourth option is no, worst possible move.
Good. I like those. Very good. Yeah, very good. I was thinking
usually I make them like mad with one of them.
Yeah, like my last option would have been, I think I'm going to puke. But that probably wouldn't have been as fitting. So that poll question is up right now on X at WI Sports Radio, and we'll dive into that coming up at 4:20 because right now it appears, based on all these reports, that Tyler Hero and the Miami Heat might be the team that ends up making a deal with the Bucks. But you never know with how this whole thing is played out. Before we get into Paul Bridle coming up here at about 3:20 or so, let's do this right here.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Got a text here on the Nicolay La Talka text line because we were promoting earlier. The Fan in Madison is now on 94.9 HD2. And this comes from, let's see here, the 608. Hey, guys, can I listen to 94.9 HD2 over the air in my 2007 Chrysler Town and Country? I deliver mail-in. I don't think so, but you would know better than me. Well, you're in luck. I went and I looked online in the break when I saw that come in, and no, it is not available in that. However, I believe you can get a tuner add-on or something like that you can buy to add into that. No, the HD radios and cars, I'm not sure what year that would start at and so forth. But like we did this, like, I don't know what you want to call it, market survey or whatever.
2005.
Oh, yeah. So it was in that general area. Like I have a 2011. I don't have HD2 in my minivan either. But I guess in Madison, there's like, I don't know, some type of survey or something said like 70% of cars in Madison have like HD radios in them. Now,
is that just the people that know for sure?
I don't know how they did the research. I don't know, but that doesn't mean that you know how to use the HD radio, right? So, like if you're on, 94.9, if you're there right now, and then you click it or you hit the HD button, however it works in the different cars, and then you can click it and you can go to HD2. Some channels have HD2 and HD3. So, for instance, if you're in Milwaukee, our sister station, 103.7 KISS FM, if on their HD2 channel is the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So if you have HD in your HD radio in your car, if you go to 103.7 KISS FM and go click it over to HD2, you can hear the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network versus 1250 AM or 105.7 FM. That's a third alternative to find us in Milwaukee. One that I don't talk necessarily about a lot, but for those of you that have HD cars, crystal clear, no interference or anything with what's the word I'm looking for?
Feedback?
No. I don't know. Atmospheric. That's the word. Oh. Atmospheric, issues or so forth. So yeah, you can check that up. All right, let's talk about the crew. So last night, Brandon Woodruff makes another start. Now he's down in the Arizona Rookie Complex League doing his thing down there. Same place where Quinn Priester is. Yesterday, Charlie Usen said, hey, man, what happens if he sucks? Like, do you just shut him down? What really happens? I was like, what do you mean, like, if he really sucks? He's like, well, what happens if he's like throwing high 80s or something and he can't get anybody out and it's just a disaster? Okay, well, it wasn't that. He wasn't that bad necessarily. And he gave up like 3 runs. And what was it, 3 1/3 or something like that? Yep. But he got to 60. Right, he got to 68 pitches. And that was the goal. The goal was to get somewhere between like 60 and 70 pitches and then see what happens. For me, if it's me, he pitches next time in the rotation. Next time his spot's up, put him in the rotation. I don't need to see him pitch again in that league. I don't need to see him come up and pitch for the Timber Rattlers. I don't need any of that. Just put him back into the rotation and let's see what happens. Now, Charlie's question for this is, what are your expectations for him moving forward now for Brandon Woodruff? Nicolay Law Talk, text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I don't believe, I shouldn't tell you what your opinion should be, but I'm going to anyhow. I don't believe expectations should be Brandon Woodruff of 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I don't think that's fair. I don't think we can go into this going, yep, I expect him to throw 96. Right now, he's changing his arm slot. He's lowered his arm slot, and he's screwing around with some other stuff, trying to figure out the best way to go about this. Is it fair to say, okay, when Woodruff comes back, his ERA should be somewhere around 4 or less? I think that's okay. I don't mind that. If you say, Sparky, you're going to get Woodruff back, but his ERA is going to be like 3.95 or something the rest of the year. No, it's not sub 2 like Mizorowski and Harrison prior to him getting blown up against the Athletics. But, right around a 4 ERA, that's okay as a number 3 pitcher in this rotation, if that's what it ends up being kind of going forward. I think that's fair. I think if you say, okay, he's going to give you, 5 innings, maybe 6 innings on some starts and get you probably like 6 or 7 strikeouts, per game, I think that's good too. I'm okay with that as well. I think that's kind of got to be where we're at with Brandon Woodruff going forward. I don't think we can come into this thinking, oh boy, he's going to go back to being old Brandon Woodruff, because I don't know if that's even possible at this point, Charlie.
Well, and I get being worried about that. At the same time, last season when he came back and was pitching for the Brewers, I mean, not that he looked exactly the same, but his peak and how good he could be in a different way, you saw that last season. And I think when I watched Brandon Woodruff, what I got was he could be a number 1, number 2 if he's healthy in a rotation throughout the whole year. I guess that's my expectation, though, is that he's just not going to be healthy, that we're going to continue to see these 2 to 3 week, 4 week peaks where he looks really good, and then we have to wait 2 weeks for him to reset and get back to himself, and then 3 to 4 weeks. And in my mind, yes, that helps for a period of time, but when you're constantly taking a Gasser out of this rotation, if you're constantly taking Sproat out of this rotation to put him back into this rotation, then those guys don't have any time to get acclimated to the MLB level or acclimated to that role if you were to move them to the bullpen instead.
No.
You just don't have, I don't know, it worries me that going back and forth between these 2 guys or these 3 guys, rotating them throughout the whole season, that's going to be a problem for the end of the season and come playoff time.
Okay, so let's have a different conversation. We'll stay on Woodruff for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. So let's say Woodruff comes back, he does this thing in the 3 hole. Now here comes the trade deadline, August 3rd, I believe it is. Here comes the trade deadline, and right now on August 3rd, you're looking at Mizorowski's innings. You're going, whew. You're looking at Harrison's innings. Then you're looking at Woodruff and where he's at feeling healthy, because this will be now 2 months in, right around 2 months.
Right.
Checking out his health. Now in July here at some point, Henderson is finally going to come back. So he may be in this rotation. Priester maybe, we'll see, might be back in this rotation. That's not to speak of Sproat and Coleman and the rest of these guys. And the talk has been Skubal being that guy that maybe you go and you bring in and put into this rotation. I was reading earlier today, I think it was ESPN, where they were saying the one big thing each team needs, and they made the case they need a middle of the order bat with power is really what this team needs to go do. But if you're looking at it from your perspective, as far as what this looks like long term, it may not even be Skubal. It may just be a veteran arm that can potentially keep you in games, keep you, so there's nothing getting sideways, that has a lot of innings on his arm, that can come in and finish out the next couple of months, even if he doesn't start in the playoffs, just to get you through the rest of the season to spare some of your younger arms.
Well, and the guy that comes to mind for me, because I do think that's what you're going to need. You're going to need a veteran pitcher that can come in. He's injured right now. He's on the 15-day IL, but when he's been healthy, he's been able to be a really solid pitcher for this team. Chris Bubich of the Kansas City Royals is a guy that's going to potentially be on the trade market. And if you can bring him in, he's a guy who's a 3-starter or 4-starter for this team that I think can be a consistent 3 or 4-starter for this team and give you another rock into that rotation for sure.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. There's a part of me, and people get mad every time this comes up. There's a part of me, bringing back Freddie Peralta is highly entertaining. It just is. It's highly, highly entertaining to me. It really is. To put Peralta back into this rotation down the stretch, put him back into that clubhouse down the stretch, knowing you're not signing him, knowing it's simply a 2-month rental, and potentially sending Jet Williams back to New York, along with whatever the case may be.
Would you even have to do that at this point with how kind of terrible he's been?
There's going to be a market for him. He's going to have a market. It's not like he has a 6 ERA.
Is it a top 5 prospect in your farm system market? Like, is it that good anymore?
But my point to that is, where the hell are you going to play Jet Williams anyhow? I mean, in the grand scheme of things right now, Jet Williams is
right now. You have 2 guys in the outfield that aren't producing.
You just signed another 5'7"
That's one guy. You have 2 guys in your outfield that aren't producing.
I'm well aware of what you're saying. I'm just simply telling you that if we look at the big picture, he's a utility guy right now. That's what he is. He is a utility player that can play infield, can play outfield. Is there value to a utility player? Yes, there's value to a utility player. Am I heartbroken if he's not here? No, I'll be fine. I'll essentially get over it. Now, obviously, Stearns might not be high on Jet Williams either. And that's why I said, here you go, Matt. You like short guys. Your manager likes the short dudes. You can have them. I'm okay moving on from them. I don't know. I think it's highly unlikely that the Brewers would do such a thing. But that's a guy, and I don't want to jinx him, he doesn't get hurt. Like, every year, he just goes out there and throws innings, and we don't have arm issues. You don't see elbow and shoulder and all this other stuff. Like, I don't know. So, okay, look, the Dugout YouTube chat from Facebook, Chris chimes in and says Jet Williams at third base.
Yeah.
Okay. We could sit here and talk about Jet Williams at third base all you'd like. I got no problem with that. My only issue with Jet Williams at third base is simply this. You have some issues coming up here, right? Because right now you have Rengifo, who may or may not be on the team by the end of the year. David Hamilton, who Murphy loves and has been hitting the ball better, but he's going to be a utility guy, kind of like Jet. Because in a pinch, Hamilton can go to the outfield. He's been there. He can play shortstop. He can play second. He can play third. Same as Jet Williams. Then you have Joey Ortiz, where he's going to get set down if they decide Cooper Pratt is ready at some point, and Cooper Pratt comes up. But if you're saying future at third base, well, future at third base right now, I think Madej is closer to being the future at third base than he is at shortstop. He's closer to being the future at third base than he is at second base. Terang still got like 3-4 years left on his contract. So he's not going to second. They've not played him in the outfield. He's not playing first. So if they think Madej could be the guy at some point in 27, again, well, who cares if they move on from Jet Williams?
Well, and I get it, but I also think because Jesus Madej can play anywhere, because you can have Luis Pena play anywhere, because you're sitting in a situation where I think you can have almost anybody in this Brewers farm system kind of play 3 to 4 positions for this team. You don't have to worry about whether or not you think Jesus Madej is the third baseman of the future or Jet Williams is the third baseman of the future. Even Bryce Terang, second baseman, you can move him to shortstop at this point. We've talked about that in the past. You can move any of these guys around. I don't think you have to pigeonhole them into any one position.
No, I understand you don't have to necessarily pigeonhole them in, but you do have to look at the depth of your organization and what you have. Here's one. Now, I like this one, 608. How about Sproat and Tyler Black for Freddie Peralta?
I think that's a much more fair value than trading away, again, a top 5 prospect in your organization.
You know I'm not a Tyler Black guy. Right?
He played well when he came up.
Yes, he did. He did. He hit better than he did the last time he was up here, the last couple of times.
No power still.
He was up here. Correct. Steven Germantown from the 414 says, we just need Woodruff to be what he was recently, competitive. Just keep us in every game. I think that's fair. I think around 4 ERA is that. he is keeping you in every game with around a 4 ERA at this point. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Paul Bradle, who's been up in Green Bay the last couple of days, covering Packers minicamp. Tucker Kraft with some good news today with reporters. We'll talk to him about that. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen, other side of the glass. Don't forget Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz coming in from 5 until 6. It's the leadoff show tonight with Tommy from 7 till 8. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show after the last pitch. You always make the switch to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, whether you're in Wausau listening to the game or if you're in Green Bay listening to WNFL 99.7 FM there. Or maybe you're in the Duluth Superior area, 710 the game, or now also on in Madison. That's right. And we are on now the Fan in Madison on 94.9 HD2. Check us out there if you are in the Madison area. Again, 94.9 HD2, the Fan in Madison, now carrying the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network and all of our shows as well. A guy that you can never get enough of. He is Paul Brettel with the Wisconsin State Journal, Packers beat writer. Joins us now on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Paul, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Hey, Sparky. Thanks for having me.
Oh, boy. You sound like you're in a bathroom. Where are you at in correspondence to Lambeau Field? Are you in an office?
I am in Lambeau Field, and I'm in an office.
That's good. As
within
long as
Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I just didn't want to talk to
no
you.
bathroom.
I didn't want you on the toilet. It would just made it weird. Okay, so let's get into a couple of things. Number one, it appears the news of the day, and maybe I missed some stuff, so if so, you can correct me. Is Tucker Kraft talking about potentially being back by week 1?
Yeah, he seems pretty confident in that. I mean, from a workload standpoint right now, he said, I asked him kind of where he's at in his recovery and his confidence within his knee, and he said he's got complete confidence in it. He said he hit 21.5 miles per hour during the workout, which is in the vicinity of where he was before his injury. His focus right now is on building his cardio back up, continuing to strengthen that right leg, getting back to the fundamentals, techniques of playing the tight end position. And it sounds like he's likely going to start training camp in July on the physically unable to perform list, but it sounds like his expectation is that he's going to be off that list early enough in training camp. Again, didn't say whether that's a week in, 2 weeks in, but he feels he's going to have enough ramp up time during that training camp period to be where he needs to be for week 1 in Minnesota, to where he can not only go out there and play, but he doesn't think he needs to be on a pitch count at all either.
With everything going on around Josh Jacobs, how has that whole atmosphere been? Because I saw he was out there with the starters today and out and participating in mini camp. The initial part of it with you guys, I would assume is kind of behind you, but I would think it's still in the back of everybody's head.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, the team's navigating, and, from our perspective on the practice field, right, everything in that sense, right, in that capacity, seems to be operating as normal. Josh is going through the individual drills. He's taking the reps with the starting offense just as you'd expect. So, that's what we've seen from our vantage point.
Let's talk about some of the other pieces to this puzzle. Jordan Love apparently made a hell of a throw to Jaden Reed, rolling left, throwing across his body to the right side for a big score. How did Love look today besides that?
Yeah, it was a really, really impressive play. Like you said, rolled out to his right and then turned back in a split second, connected with Reed, who has had a step or two on Carrington Valentine down that right sideline. And I think throughout this, this is now, I'm trying to think, this is the 4th practice that we've been able to see during OTAs in these 2 mini camps. And he's looked very comfortable, very efficient. And in talking with him yesterday, one of the areas that Love said where he's seen improvement this offseason is in his footwork within the pocket. Operate where his eyes and feet are connected, right? As he's going through his reads with his eyes, his feet are following him. Being able to help him operate within the timing and the rhythm of the play. And I asked Matt LaFleur today about Love's comments in that regard and on his footwork. And LaFleur, and he's talked about this before, but for the quarterback position, the accuracy of it all begins with the footwork. It's your foundation. And that ability to be in a rhythm and, like they said, operate within the timing and the rhythm of the play so the ball comes out on time. It sets the base for the rest of your body, your legs, to your upper body, to your arms, that throwing motion. So a really critical element, and that's been a point of emphasis for Love. And again, from an efficiency standpoint during these practices that we've seen, very calm, very confident in the pocket, and delivering a strong ball with that.
The other part about this, obviously, is Christian Watson with the new deal, Jaden Reed with a new deal. Are we expecting a different distribution rate within this offense this year with Dobbs and Wicks gone and an unproven guy, I guess, like in Matthew Golden? We talked about this yesterday a little bit as far as, do they finally get to the point where they trust Christian Watson to treat him like Jordy Nelson or treat him like Devonta Adams, where his targets go up and are, he's treated like a true number one wide receiver finally?
I think so. I think that's the way this is trending. One, the reason you mentioned, right, there's less wide receivers, right, to get the ball to. And I also think it's just where Watson is at in his ascension, right? Coming off that ACL injury. I mean, from a touchdown, yards per catch during that 10, 11 games that he played last season, I mean, he was among the better receivers in football during that stretch. And again, there's just so much flexibility that he adds to this offense. We see the big plays, but LaFleur raves about his versatility, how he can play each of the wide receiver positions. He's someone who can attack each level of the field and do so in a variety of ways. Matt LaFleur is also very complimentary of his run blocking ability. And when you have kind of that well-rounded skill set, which I believe Watson's developed into, for Matt LaFleur, from a game planning standpoint, like I said, there's a lot of flexibility because there's a lot of different ways you can move him around, ways that you can put him in a position to attack an opponent. And because of that, coupled with his size, his speed, there's a gravity to Christian Watson, right? Defensive coordinators, as they're game planning, they know where Christian Watson is on the field. Defenders know where he is, and that can help open up opportunities for others, whether it's on underneath routes. I think there's even a benefit to the run game that can come from him being on the field consistently with less defenders being near the line of scrimmage. So his impact's all encompassing, and I think the Packers are looking to lean into that this season, again, along with Golden and Reed having their carved out roles as well.
Another person that I've seen mentioned amongst social media people from the Packers beat writers like yourself, Brandon Cisse, running around out there in shorts today. How did he look, the Packers' number one pick?
Yeah, he's been getting some steady opportunities with the starting defense. Not surprising, right? When the first team defense has been out there in the practices that we've been at, it's Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine outside. And again, they're experienced players. Cisse's coming in as a rookie, but during these last two practices, he's been getting some more reps with that starting defense. And something I thought was really interesting that Jordan Love mentioned, and this was last week, he talked about this, but during this time of the year, it's an opportunity for Love to not only test his receivers, right, give Savion Williams, Matthew Golden, right, some younger players some opportunities in some of the key drills that they're doing, but it's an opportunity for Love to test Cisse, right, throw in his direction on some of those kind of critical down and distance scenarios that they're going through, just to see how he responds in that situation. And if he doesn't come up with the play, that's a great learning opportunity for him, an opportunity to go through those, hurdles at this time of the year to hopefully help him be better prepared for when the regular season comes. But I also talked to Cisse today, says he feels very comfortable about where he's at with Jonathan Gannon's scheme and what he's tasked with up to this point, learning the playbook. And again, we're starting to see him get some of those more opportunities with the ones.
Speaking of Gannon's scheme, talking with Paul Brattle, Packers beat writer, Wisconsin State Journal, ESPN Lacrosse here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Speaking of Gannon's scheme itself, again, you're not in pads yet, so long ways to go before we really know anything, I guess. But any differences as far as what you're seeing right now, as far as Gannon's communication with his guys or how they're lining up and so forth?
Yeah, first off, I'll say Gannon, a ton of energy on the sidelines. I mean, you can see him jumping up and down when the defense does something good. You can hear him very vocal. But from just what we're seeing right now, and I wrote about this after the first OTA practice because it just jumped out to me after that first day, the movement along the defensive line unit is staggering. Like, there is so much of it. We're seeing 5-man fronts. We're seeing 4-man fronts. We're seeing different formations where sometimes it's Lucas Van Ness, sometimes it's Dennis Sutton, sometimes it's Barron Sorrell taking inside snaps at defensive end, simulated pressures, right, where a defensive lineman might drop into coverage while a linebacker blitzes. I mean, there is just a lot going on up there to throw different looks at the offensive line, to create some visual chaos for the offense, and also to help create some advantageous matchups for your defensive linemen to take advantage of. And what we've seen over the years, Gannon's time in Arizona, his time in Philadelphia as a defensive coordinator, we've seen a lot of defensive linemen have some highly productive seasons with him. And we talked to Javon Hargrave about that, who was with Gannon in Philadelphia. And he said that this scheme creates a lot of one-on-one opportunities. And then if the defender can go out and win those matchups, the opportunity for steady production is going to be there. And so that's putting these players in advantageous situations, but the amount of movement that we see among that group, not only in the rotation, right, the number of players getting snaps, but where they're lined up, how they're being moved around. I mean, it is very eye-popping, and you can tell if that's already a big part in this time of the offseason, when things are being implemented, you know that's going to be a focal point for how this group operates in season.
How should I ask this question? I don't want to ask, is it fair, but I will. Is it fair to assume that Gannon will use Edgerrin Cooper maybe in different ways than maybe Jeff Hafley did to get more out of him?
Yeah, I think that is going to be a part of the equation, right? Like if I'm Jonathan Gannon and I look at this defense, the three things on my to-do list are, how do I maximize Micah Parsons, Edgerrin Cooper, and Xavier McKinney? Like those are the top three items, right? And I think in part, Cooper's season, right? He didn't have necessarily the splash plays that we saw his rookie year. I do think a product of that is just because you're playing with Micah Parsons for a lot of it. And so I think there was less that was asked of Cooper in terms of, coverage responsibilities or filling gaps, things of that nature. But I also think this season, Gannon's defense won, but I think pairing him with Zaire Franklin, I think those are two really, really good complementary skill sets. And Franklin even talked about this last week, that what he does well, what Cooper does well, marry very well together. Franklin is he's going to be at his best operating closer to the line of scrimmage, right? He's a thumper, filling lanes in the running game, blitzing, getting after the quarterback. And I think when you have kind of that stable presence around the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field, now if you're Jonathan Gannon, you're looking at how do you maximize Edgerrin Cooper, because you have Franklin in the middle. Now that gives you the flexibility to do different things with Edgerrin Cooper to maximize, right, that coverage ability, that sideline to sideline speed, and just the overall impact he can have.
Paul, I want to go back one last question. I want to go back to the offensive side of the ball, because at the end of last year, at the end of the season, LaFleur talked about like going back down to the nuts and bolts of his offense and kind of analyzing everything and kind of rebuilding this thing from the ground up with the coaches that he has on the offensive side of the ball, and come back with maybe something that looks a little bit different than we saw last year. Can you tell any differences? I mean, it sounds like they're using Savion Williams the same way they did last year, so it doesn't sound like anything's different there. Have you seen anything that's like, okay, that's a little bit different than we saw last year?
Yeah, overall, I wouldn't say there's anything that stands out to me. I do think that, and this is something LaFleur already did, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see an uptick this season of 2 tight end sets. I mean, even without Tucker Kraft, we're seeing a lot of Josh Wiley and Luke Musgrave, or Luke Musgrave was out today, so is Wiley and Messiah Swinson. And I think overall in the NFL, there's a trend. The trend offensively is going in that direction, because it is a good way to combat the cover 2 heavy defenses, which is what a lot of teams run nowadays, because now you're forcing the opponent to either get big with you and match your personnel. And then in that instance, you have some athletic tight ends who can hopefully make plays in the passing game. Or if they don't match your personnel, well, now you have the size advantage, right? And that can help you out in the run game. So that's something that has stood out to me, but I haven't seen anything, eye-popping at this point. And we've even asked LaFleur, further comments about that statement that he made that you referenced. And of course, he hasn't gotten into specifics, but me personally, and again, I haven't seen this take place on the football field, but one way I could see that manifesting this season is we saw a shift last year, especially, but even late in 2024 with Josh Jacobs and more of a gap heavy running scheme, right? Going between the tackles, and in part because that's where Josh Jacobs is at his best. That's where he's most comfortable. But before that, when it was an Aaron Jones backfield and just how Matt LaFleur wants to operate, he likes that outside zone, right? He likes getting the offensive lineman on the move in space, then letting the running back move with them, and then kind of choose to slash through the running lane as it appears. So that would be the one thing that I'm looking for, where based on LaFleur's comments, where maybe they get back to more of that, because the run game last season, and to me, this is more about the offensive line than the running backs, but it wasn't good enough. Like, if this offense is going to reach its ceiling, the offensive line has to be a lot better in the run game. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're looking for ways to accomplish that.
He is Paul Brettel, Packers beat writer, Wisconsin State Journal, covers the Packers for ESPN Lacrosse as well. Follow him on X at Paul_Brettel. Paul, thanks so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sparky. Take care.
You betcha. There he is, Paul Brettel on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that is all. You know, it's not just all about betting at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. There's a big food menu filled with a bunch of crazy new items. Now, check this out. All-day brunch, steak and eggs, steak and bagel sandwich, pancakes, and more. Wisconsin-style appetizers feature a lot of cheese, of course. It's got all things chicken, like wings and tenders. Build your own burgers. Desserts, highlighted by the MVP Turtle Sundae. Tons of cold beverages to go with your all-star meal. Plus, got to be 21 to enter the casino. And bet above the rest at the Potawatomi Sportsbook down here in Milwaukee. Definitely want to check it out. 2,000 square foot center screen TV on that wall. Over 30 different sporting events they can show at one time. 2 levels at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It is by far the best sportsbook in the Midwest. I don't think it's even comparable at this point to anybody else. Definitely want to check it out. If you are in southeastern Wisconsin, or maybe you're coming from Duluth, Superior, or Green Bay, or Wausau to come watch the Brewers for a weekend, you can take their shuttles to and from the game, stay at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel while you're there, have some great food at all the different restaurants that they have inside besides the sportsbook, or just hang out at the sportsbook. Great food there as well. Never had a bad meal at Potawatomi. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiver with you. Wendy's new cookie dough frosty fusion is the ultimate feel-good snack. Everything from the cookie dough to the brownie batter sauce was made for max happiness. Go grab a new cookie dough frosty fusion today and get that dopamine flowing. Get it? Dopamine. Like cookie dough. I've had it. And there are so many cookie dough chunks. If you like cookie dough, I swear to God, there had to have been 40 chunks of that cookie dough in the frosty fusion that I got. So again, if you love cookie dough, this is your deal. Cookie dough and chocolate and Wendy's. Oh my goodness gracious. It's really good. All right. It is that time. Let's go do our thing with our guy, Charlie.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, use it. Where to first?
All right, we're going all baseball today on Charlie Sounds of the Day. First up, we're going to stick with our Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to hear from Tom Verducci, who's on the Jim Rome Show, and he was discussing Jacob Misiorowski and why he thinks we haven't seen anybody like this before.
But I used to say that Jacob deGrom, to me, was pitching elevated to its highest form. He was cruising at 99, throwing 95-mile-an-hour sliders, pinpoint control, beautiful mechanics. But this is something different because the velocity is a step up, if you can believe that. He's letting the ball go 7.5 feet in front of the rubber. I mean, he's a tall guy, yeah, but he also has a long stride and long extension with his arm. It's like he's reaching out to hand the ball to the catcher. And above all, what really impresses me the most this year, Jim, is he's throwing strikes. I mean, that had not been his MO. Live arm, yeah, but wasn't quite sure where it was going. He's really done a great job working on his mechanics, repeating his delivery. He's a strike thrower throwing 101 miles an hour. So no, I've never seen that before. And I don't know that anybody has, to be honest with you, given his size. I get it, the population is bigger. But have a guy at 6'7", throwing the ball 7.5 feet in front of the mound at 101? No, we haven't seen that before. That's, going back to Magic Johnson playing the point at 6'10".
Okay, so quickly on that. I've never seen anybody like him. Oh, my goodness. I agree with Tom Verducci. You haven't seen anything like it, right? You have the MLB draft, amateur draft coming up here, All-Star Week or whatever, coming up in July. And I was looking at a mock draft earlier today that The Athletic put out, and like 3 or 4 picks ahead of the Brewers are the Padres. And they put this specific player there and said, well, this is probably his floor. And then in the writing, they said, but it's also the floor for this player, that player, this player, that player. And the writer was like, they can't draft all of them, folks. So there's going to be a couple of guys that are going to slide past San Diego potentially. The guy that I'm talking about is Brody Bumila, I think is how you say his name. Left-handed pitcher, high school pitcher. He's 6'9", 250, and he's left-handed, throwing 100 miles an hour plus. Could you imagine having Misiorowski and this cat in, say, 3 years? Oh, my goodness gracious.
Well, that, and then you already have like 3 different versions of Jackson Churio in your farm system with the bats. So like it just doesn't matter. Both sides, you're getting these absolute freaks. And it doesn't even really just feel like the Brewers. Across the league, you're just seeing every team all of a sudden pop up with some dude who's 6'5" plus and is just raking or can throw 100 miles per hour. It's kind of insane seeing how some of these kids have started to develop as athletes.
Yes. And again, a lot of it is, and I'll just continue to say it, science. A lot of it is being able to use different things, different analytics, different programs to analyze every single thing that you do with a baseball or with a baseball bat or all of your mechanics from your head down to your feet, and really get you almost in a perfect position, I guess, to maximize everything that you have and hope, cross your fingers, that you don't get hurt along the way. Because that's the pitfall of drafting a high school pitcher. A lot of these guys get hurt before they even get to the major league level and aren't the same guy they are when they come out of high school. So there is a danger to it, but man, could you imagine the hype train around this kid if the Brewers are the ones that end up taking him? Because everybody's like, oh my God, they're going to have a 6'9" left-handed version of Mizorowski coming. Because Mizorowski's 6'7". He's even taller than Mizorowski. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to head on over to the San Francisco Giants, who have been playing a series against the Washington Nationals. They have lost the first 2 games of that series. In the first game, though, Logan Webb went all the way into the 8th inning with 1-run ball. He was at 99 pitches. He and manager Tony Vitello had a conversation. This is Logan Webb explaining that conversation.
I walked in and I didn't know how many pitches I was at, and then Ness shook my hand, so I thought I was done. And then Tony kind of asked if you're good, and I said it's up to you, it's your decision. And then he came back to me after. I want to say it was they made after the challenge. We got the first. And he was like, "We just make a change." And I was like, "Okay."
99 pitches, though, did you feel like you could go out there for that 9th inning?
Yeah, I feel like I can. I feel like I can do as many as I want. I felt good. I don't, regret that decision at all. I was excited to watch Keaton throw. We scored 2 there. It's just unfortunate that the way that inning unfolded.
Keaton he mentioned was Keaton Wynn, who came in and ended up losing the game for the Giants, giving up 3 runs in his appearance there. Logan Webb is coming off a pretty significant shoulder injury, but is the ace and has been the ace of this Giants rotation.
That's just crap. I mean, that's absolute crap by Webb. Again, and I don't know him. I don't know his track record. I mean, I know he's a damn good pitcher. And we talked about it the other day, but maybe the Brewers make a move for Webb. But this is the thing, man. Like, you have a guy that's straight out of college. Your team sucks. He's, well, maybe you don't know this, but I would assume he's doing everything in his power to try to get this ship right. And he's giving you the veteran love of, hey, man, you want to go back out? You good? And if he says, yeah, all right, man, I trust you, go. And instead you go, well, I don't know. You're the manager. What do you want me to do? It's just a jerk thing to do.
He didn't even ask if
jerk thing to do.
He didn't even ask if he wanted to go back out. That's not what Logan Webb said. Logan said he asked if he's okay, like if he's good, if he's feeling all right. And he just said, it's up to you. What kind of answer is that to that question?
Because I think he interpreted what Vitello was saying, which means like, you're going to go back out there. You good? You good to go back? And he's like, yeah, it's your call. So I don't know. I don't like it. Like, if Webb didn't want to go back out there, then just be like, hey, dude, I'm done. Like, Mizorowski has told Murphy, hey, I got one more and I'm done. Like, I'm going to go empty it out and I'm done after that. And then there's been 2 more since then where he's like, hell no, I'm going back out. The one time they told him no, and then the last time they let him stay out there and he got out of it. That's all he was doing. He was just trying to be a veteran player-friendly manager was what Vitello was trying to do. You got vets like that kind of sabotaging this dude and not helping him. It's not going to go well. And I don't know. I don't know the inner workings if people don't like Vitello in that clubhouse or whatever, but it's not right. All right, go ahead.
And last up here, just a cool moment in baseball history. This is the game from last night between the Chicago White Sox and Atlanta Braves, a game that went down to the final at-bat where rookie Brandon Montgomery in his MLB debut did this.
For his most crucial at-bat of his first game. Sends it in the air to left. It is back near the wall. It is over the wall for a game-winning home run. How about that? Talk about drama. Talk about theater. What a ball game.
So Montgomery wins it for the Braves over the White Sox?
He wins it for the White Sox.
Oh, for the White Sox over the Braves is what it was.
Chicago.
Oh, that's nice. Chicago guy playing a Chicago highlight.
It's
some
fun.
Rookie dude.
It's a cool moment. It could have been
great.
the Pittsburgh Pirates. It could have been the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah.
That's a cool moment.
I'm happy for the dude. I could care less that it was with the White Sox. Whatever. Okay, coming up next, green and gold update time. And Jordan Love and Paul Brettel mentioned the Jordan Love comment from yesterday. I want to dive into what he's working on to get better. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is time again. Hour number 3, 4 o'clock hour. Again, be safe, everybody, with the weather. The next couple of days not looking so good. Already hearing of possible power outages around the different state where I have family. So I know even outside of southeastern Wisconsin, everybody else is having some issues too in the middle part of the state. So make sure to be careful and keep your weather alerts on your phone and all that fun stuff they always tell you. We're broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Coming up, our poll question at 4:20 we'll get into if Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat ends up being the centerpiece of a trade for Giannis, and he gets to come home and play here in Wisconsin. How would you feel about it? Charlie has 4 different options. Go vote. And then we'll take calls and text messages on it as well at 4:20. That's on X right now at WI Sports Radio, where we are streaming live on Instagram Live, on X, on YouTube. Like, subscribe while you're there. So you're you're in the know of when all of our shows are on the air and all that fun stuff. Like tonight, leadoff show. Tommy Wirtz will be on from 7 to 8. And then the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show tonight after the last pitch. You make the switch. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Charlie Usen and Tommy Wirtz tonight. Tim Allen returns on Friday to do the show with Tommy like normal. Maybe the Brewers return home.
Maybe Tim will finally join us tonight. He's been ditching us the past couple of nights.
Dude, he's in Vegas. He don't care about y'all. Man, the last thing. I'm
sure it's casino, Brewers game, right back to the casino.
Yes,
so.
Yes, with lots of alcohol splashed in the middle of all of that while it's all going on for sure. So we'll get to that poll question coming up at 4:20, but it is 4 o'clock, so we go here.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, time for our green and gold update. We went over what happened in minicamp today earlier with Paul Brettel of the Wisconsin State Journal, Packers beat writer. He joined us in the last hour. Plus, we touched on it some in the 2 o'clock hour as well. So touching some Packers football, all 3 hours of the show today. And of course, if you ever miss anything on today's show, download us as a podcast on Wisconsin Sports Daily, where we download your favorite podcast at, or go to wisportsradio.com or text Sparky to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250 to get a link to the show page sent right to your phone. Again, Sparky, Sparky, to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Okay, Jordan Love yesterday. Again, I was late to the train on this one. We played some Jordan Love quotes yesterday, and I missed this one. Jordan Love yesterday talking about what he's trying to improve on this offseason, getting ready to start another season coming up here in September.
Yeah, for me, my biggest thing is that I've noticed since I got back is just my feet in the pocket, trying to be as smooth, as consistent as possible. When I go through my reads, getting my hitches and, not getting antsy, not getting in that point where you're just trying to move through the pocket too fast, but just staying calm, staying relaxed, move through my reads. If I got to move around in the pocket, keeping those movements pretty tight and not kind of running into where guys might be peeling off and be able to hit you. So just really trying to focus on my feet, my pocket movements. And obviously, I think all those things are tied to accuracy and just the timing of routes and things like that. So just trying to be as dialed in as possible. But that's the biggest thing I've been trying to work on so far.
It's interesting because I'm not quite sure if others would have said the same thing. So I'm going to ask you listening right now. That's what Jordan Love said he's been working on. Would you have suggested he be working on something else this offseason, or he can work on something additional maybe at your behest going between now and the time the season gets going here in September? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I will tell you that I understand what he's talking about. The happy feet, whatever you'd like to call it, when he's in there. He's had that for a while. I don't think this is something that just occurred. It's always been something that he's kind of potentially needed to maybe get better at, work on. So him saying that that's what he's working on, I'm happy with it. I'm good with it. I have no problem with it whatsoever. If I was giving advice, close your ears, Matt LaFleur. If I was giving advice it would be look for your spots to run more, man. Look for your spots to get out and go upfield. If I was the Packers, I think my advice would be like, I'd like 5 runs a game. Like 5 runs a game. Pick your spots. I'd like 5 runs a game where everybody's got the back to you. You see open grass, instead of patting that ball for another 2 seconds, waiting for somebody to come open, just go get 10 yards and slide and get out of bounds or whatever the case may be, and make them have to be concerned about you potentially running. He's never going to be Malik Willis and have that type of explosiveness and ability to make people miss and being able to run away from guys. That's not who he is. But you can be good enough to at least keep them honest. Aaron Rodgers kept them honest. Brett Favre kept them honest early in his career. That's what you want, right? Don Majkowski, the Magic Man, he ran more than the other two. He kept them honest and kept them off of him a little bit. When you get to the point where in the back of their head, they're like, okay, well, we better make sure somebody's got an eye on him here, because otherwise he's going to take off and run on us. That changes quite a bit as far as how a defense can kind of come at you. Because now all of a sudden it's not running straight up field because they're not worried about you going anywhere. You're a sitting duck because you're of no threat. You've got to be able to get him to quit being the sitting duck and take advantage of more of those situations, Charlie.
But then Matt LaFleur, like you talked about,
I said close his ears. I tried to help.
He's got to open his ears. No, he's got to listen. He's got to be able to adjust an offense so that he has that option sometimes. And I think it's going to be hard because he does have a more clear hierarchy in his wide receiver room, which should make his reads a little bit easier, especially if Tucker Kraft is healthy week 1, like he's saying. That's going to be perfect. You're going to have the whole unit right there ready to go. You should be able to work through that. And then running should be the very last option for a quarterback like Jordan Love. At the same time, I think it really does just keep these defenses honest. I think he doesn't have to be as elusive as maybe a Caleb Williams is, but Caleb Williams isn't that type of get a 30-yard run every single time he breaks out of the pocket. It's just getting moving and getting upfield and hoping that gets the linebackers to sit a little bit more on you and opens up the wide receivers. Sure. Jordan Love can throw 10 times better than Caleb Williams at this point in his career. So if you can start getting those linebackers to sit and pay attention to you and trust you, then you can hit guys over the middle of the field. And again, get these different wide receivers that now have more defined roles into those pockets that you know they're going to be in.
The other part about this too is as you get older, you're going to want to run less. Because you want to extend your career. You don't want to be losing games to injury. And the reason why I said Matt LaFleur close your ears is this dude hasn't stayed healthy yet as a starter in a season. So now you're going to suggest, Sparky, that you want him to run even more than he is now when he can't stay healthy? Doesn't seem like very smart football to me, speaking as Matt LaFleur. And I understand why it wouldn't seem smart. But I'm just thinking if you're talking about the improvement of this offense and moving forward, that element, I think, does add something.
It does. And I think that with this Packers team, when you saw Malik Willis in at quarterback last season, even though it did feel like a completely different offense, you saw how much of a threat that could be just in your general overall scheme. And I think you can do that with Jordan Love. He's good enough athlete that he can get to that point for you, maybe not to Malik Willis level, but again, to a point where he can be a threat and make a defense think about him.
Right. And that's the thing. Make a defense think about you at least a little bit, right? Where you have a linebacker that's kind of like, okay, I'm going to drop back, but all eyes are on him more than anything else. And now maybe that opens up for somebody underneath to get the ball in their hands to be able to take off and run, because that linebacker is distracted about Jordan Love and trying to follow Jordan Love
around. And in that case, then you need a running back who's going to be pretty trustworthy when it comes to catching the ball and
Josh
being
Jacobs
available in that
catch
spot.
The ball.
Josh Jacobs can, but I think you're looking more at the guy who shall not be named in that spot to be that type of player, to always be that option at the line of scrimmage alongside the offensive line for Jordan Love.
Yeah, I mean, that's very optimistic thinking. And yes, in a perfect world, yes, that's the guy that ends up being that guy that can take a 5-yard play and turn it into 20 yards for sure. That's obviously what you want him to be at some point. The other part about this offense, to me, about his ability to run, doesn't it help the offensive line a little bit too? Where they're like, okay, I don't got to block for 5 or 6 seconds while he's back there trying to figure out who to throw the football to. Jordan Love, for the most part in his career, does get the ball out relatively quickly. He does not, again, outside looking in at this, I haven't gone back and looked at the numbers. It does not appear to me that he holds the ball nearly as long as Aaron Rodgers would pat that ball forever. And you're asking David Bakhtiari to sit over there and try and hold the block for 5 seconds, which is complete insanity. In a perfect world, that ball is coming out within 3 seconds of him getting the ball. That's what you want. If you're an offensive lineman, that's perfect world. Now, again, we don't live in a perfect world, so there's going to be times where he's going to have to hold on to that ball. But if you start now having the ability to get out of there and run a little bit, now that pass rush isn't coming all the time. And you look at Jeff Hafley's defenses the last 2 years. These dudes pulled up and we were playing patty cake, Baker's man with the offensive lineman on the other side because they didn't want Jalen Hurts to take off running upfield or didn't want any of these other quarterbacks. They have the ability to run to beat them. So they were playing contain and trying to make him throw the football.
Well, and the other reason they do that with the Jalen Hurts, I think sometimes Jalen Hurts, and this is something that Jordan Love does really well too, he's actually the best in the league, is when they're under pressure, can find those guys a lot easier and get the ball off really quickly.
Yep.
Again, they're really well in those schemes, in those moments to get that off, which is why I think Jeff Hafley and a lot of other NFC defenses were having schemes like that for those quarterbacks, not only because they can run, because you can throw them off by dropping back 7 guys into coverage and make them find the tighter windows, make them think a little bit more instead of just going with the throw right away to their guys. I think that's something I want to see Jordan Love work on this offseason. And I don't know if you can really truly do that as much just because you're not in pads, you're not getting those real in-game situations this early on in the training camp. But at the same time, those 7-on-7 workouts that you have, you're not having a pass rush against you. You have to deal with those 7 to 8 guys in coverage, and you have to find those windows. That's something that I really would like to see him get a little bit better at, because if you can add that onto what he does against the blitz in the cover ones and the cover zeros that he just dominates all the time, he truly will be a top 5 quarterback in the league then.
I think the other part of it too, I think when you talk about the play action game in the National Football League, you've seen really good play action guys, right? Peyton Manning was really good at that play action game. I think Favre was really good at selling the fake and the fake jump throws that he used to do and all that crazy stuff him and Rodgers used to do back in the day. I think that's another aspect that you can really work on going forward here, because the Rams are going to use play action obviously a ton. The Lions, back when Ben Johnson was there, they used it. They're using it in
Bears
Chicago
are using it all the time.
Yeah, because Ben Johnson. And if you're going to run a lot of that play action, which the Packers are normally running at least half the time, they're running a lot of that play action, make sure he's as good as he possibly can be on selling it to that defense. That's another, again, we're nitpicking, folks. I understand we are nitpicking Jordan Love to death. But when he brings up what he's working on, and he talks about his feet in the pocket, which is great, 100% behind working on that, just try to figure out other things. And selling that play action and getting guys to bite is a big deal where they don't know where the ball is.
It is, but the entire play action play is the whole offense. Everybody has to be in line, and the quarterback, yes, has to sell the play action, but his job after that is to find the 1 to 2 reads that he has and just chuck it to that 1 to 2 guys. That you don't have a whole lot of routes on those plays, so it relies on the offense being in time with the quarterback, the offensive line, and making sure that they're selling the run first too, along with the quarterback, and then dropping back into that pass set. The wide receivers running really crisp routes and getting to the points that they're supposed to be so the quarterback can get to that point. I think talking about him being able to not just get the footwork and being able to sell it, but making sure that the rest of the offense is in time with him is really important too.
Very, very important at the end of the day. And like you said, it's a whole unit thing. For me, it's here, look, play action. And you see the running back never got close to the ball and was just,
and it throws the entire play off.
Correct. And it's over. It just doesn't look right. But if you sell it and your back is to the defensive backfield, when you go to do that and you pull it back and the running back sells it on his side and you give him that much doubt of who has the ball, that's all you need sometimes. That's it. And all of a sudden that separation, when that DB comes up thinking it's Josh Jacobs, and then that quarterback turns around and is like, it's over here. And now all of a sudden that step now is a step and a half. That's the difference in a big play or not a big play.
And with Watson, that's a touchdown almost every single time because he's going to be gone. Jaden Reed apparently has gotten a little bit faster. We've heard about the big play today. Yep. Yeah, Tucker Kraft even is just an amazing athlete. So if you can get him open in the middle of the field on a play like that, you are set. Man.
No question. He is Charlie. Use it. C Sparky Pfeiffer. Come back on the other side. We're talking about our poll question that we have up about Tyler Hero, because he and the Heat are the rumored team to be in front in this derby to get Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks if the Bucks were to trade him. My interaction with people in my life doesn't seem like there's a lot of people happy about Tyler Hero potentially coming back to the Bucks. So I wanted to put it out there as a poll question on this show to see if it's just the people I'm surrounded with or if there are more of you listening around the beautiful state of Wisconsin that may also not want Tyler Hero. Maybe I'm just surrounded by a bunch of negative people in my life because I'm a negative person. Could very well be. Maybe there's a bunch of you that do want Tyler Hero in a Bucks uniform. That's why the poll question is up. That's why we're going to take your calls and text messages coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Dial it up. Text us now. Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. How would you feel if Tyler Hero ends up being the centerpiece in a Bucks deal for Giannis? I wonder if Tommy could sing Michael Jackson.
Oh, probably.
You think he could pull Michael Jackson off?
Tommy's a star, all right? I think he can pull anything off.
Nah, you got to be special to pull this off.
Has Tim done Michael Jackson? I feel like he probably would.
No.
Yeah.
I've not seen Tim Allen do Michael Jackson to this point. They do have that Michael Jackson movie. Is that out yet, or is that coming out?
Yeah, it's been out. I think it's almost out of theaters now.
I have not. I kind of wanted to see it, and then I was kind of like, oh, man. The odds of this being really good are probably slim to none.
I feel like
they're
gotta,
going to pull this off.
Like Michael Jackson's got to really have impacted your life. I think to be into it, like I don't like.
Totally.
I don't care.
It was like the
soundtrack
soundtrack of my life for the most part. I always was playing Michael Jackson growing up as a kid and stuff. So yeah, definitely huge impact. And I've told you my story about when we found out Michael Jackson was dead. My guy, Gary Ellerson, back in the day. So yeah, dude, lots of memories concerning Michael Jackson. Okay, so let's get to the topic at hand. Poll question is up right now at WI Sports Radio on X. If Tyler Hero ends up being the centerpiece of a trade for Giannis, how would you feel? They were having a conversation on the Hoop Collective podcast. Tim Bontemps, who's been on the show before from ESPN, talks about it.
The Heat have a fine package. I would say that if Giannis winds up on the Heat, it's for one of two reasons. It's either because he puts his thumb on the scale and says, I'm only going to play for the Heat, which frankly, to this point, Giannis has shown no sign to do any of that ever with any of this stuff. And so I would not anticipate that happening. And the other part is if teams are just wary of outbidding Miami. Because I think if there's other teams that decide to, that are the teams that have been discussed, decide to get in the mix, I think they all have enough to outbid the Heat if they choose to actually say, we want to go down the road with Giannis and sign up to have a guy who's going to be on the team till he's 36, 37 with, you know, a gigantic contract on the books and some of the potential long-term downsides that could come with that.
I am amazed by all the negativity around this. Like, I just am amazed. Like, and again, I'm not saying they're wrong when they're saying, you know, he's going to be older, he can't stay healthy already, and all that stuff. Like, I don't disagree with anything of what they're saying, that, yeah, you may sign him to a big term deal, $70 million, whatever it is, and he may only play, you know, 60 games a year, and we don't know if he'll be healthy in the playoffs because he hasn't been healthy in the playoffs. So that all, again, I think is legitimate. Now, on the Bucs side, you're spinning the crap out of it. Well, no. I mean, if you look at the percentage games he's played and blah, blah, blah. Okay, spin away. Do what you got to do. I mean, to a point, they're all right. So then it becomes how many guys are really going to bid? And if it's Miami and the other ones are kind of like half in, half out, like, okay, we'll do it. But if we only have to give up this, and Miami's like full in, tell us what you want. And you can have them outside of Bam. You can have anybody else you want on the roster. Then it's going to be Miami. And right now, Khalil Ware's in that package and Tyler Hero's in that package, a bunch of picks, and then some random role players, whoever they want to throw in. But Tyler Hero is the centerpiece of that deal right now. And the question is simply this. If Tyler Hero ends up being the centerpiece of a trade for Giannis, how would you feel about it? What are the poll question options right now?
All right. So first you have, yes, bring him home. Second, you have, okay, willing to try it. Third, not great, but not awful. And fourth, no, this is the worst possible move.
I don't think it's the worst possible move necessarily, because I think maybe there's an outside chance you can find somebody take this dude at the deadline, maybe next year or next offseason or whatever the case may be. Maybe somebody will take him off your hands for you. And it's not that I think Tyler Hero sucks. I don't think he sucks. I just don't think you can win a championship with this cat as your one. And I don't even know if you can win the championship with him as your two. So from that perspective, that's not what you want out of this deal. And I can't let go of the idea that we had yesterday, which is 3-team deal. Jaylen Brown goes to the Bulls, Giannis goes to the Celtics, and the Bucks get that 4th pick and whatever. Like that, to me, that is that deal to me is probably the closest to what I would be happy with. And I don't care what crap they get back from the Bulls player-wise, but it does not seem like that's the way Milwaukee wants to go. It seems like they want a Jaylen Brown type, or God forbid, Karl Anthony Towns, to come in here and then, oh, good, now we can be better than 500 or around 500, and we'll still have no chance to potentially win this thing. I mean, that's, to me, is what it feels like. It feels like they're hoping the Knicks lose, and then maybe they get Karl Anthony Towns, or maybe Boston does trade Jaylen Brown and they get Jaylen Brown, and then they can sell to the fan base. We got, these two guys, one or two of these guys, and now we can still be competitive and battle for the 7th seed, essentially, going forward. What say you? Trell on the north side. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Trell?
Hey, what's going on, Sparky? So to answer the question, I'm going with 3. I'm not sold, but that's probably explains my feelings on it the most, which is don't hate it, but don't really love it either. So it's kind of whatever. But I would say I told you guys when they were talking about trading him to what's the name that I felt like they should have traded him at the midseason part, because they had more teams that were didn't care about their name being involved and was kind of trying to see if the Bucks were really serious, and they kind of felt the Bucks weren't serious. So you probably didn't get your best offers then. If teams felt the Bucks were serious at the halfway point, midseason or whatever, I think they probably would have got a very good package of a lot of things they wanted. But now, unless John Horst has something, in his pocket and he just got it real quiet right now, the Bucks are pretty much been made to trade him to Miami. And this is what I feared, that it will come down to they were going to pretty much have to work their way around of just starting to love some of the pieces that Miami had or something. So, and like I said, I do like Khalil Ware. I do. I think Spoelstra is a veteran coach. He can be hard on young players. I really believe that. He's a very good coach, though. Don't get me wrong. But he's a very good coach when you are kind of pointing to going to a championship type of coach, because he's got some tough love tactic to him. But like I said, I would take him on my team. But for a young team, he can be very hard and kind of wear on a young kid and hold them accountable for a whole lot of stuff instead of kind of letting them be free and easy and play.
Okay, Trell, let me ask you this. I was talking to a guy here in the building earlier today, and he said, I don't think they're trading him. And I said, so you're just in denial? He goes, maybe. He goes, but I don't think they're going to get a deal that they like, and they'll decide to go the other way with it. And they're going to try and build something around him if they don't get what they want by the draft. That's a heck of an idea as far as, no, we don't like what we're getting in return, so we're going to try and save this and try to make an aggressive run the other way.
Yeah, but that still doesn't guarantee he's going to sign, Sparky. Like, if he doesn't like the sum of the parts, now you're screwed, and you just screws your future. Like,
I'm with you. I agree with you. I mean, totally agree with you. Yes.
And I will say this too, Sparky. I know you got to let me go. I am perplexed by the negativity in the media. And I understand that, it's kind of true. Giannis has been dinged up a little bit or whatever. But for the caliber of player that Giannis is, I've never seen the media act this way. They didn't even do this to Kawhi Leonard.
Nope.
And they didn't even do this to Kawhi Leonard.
They should have done it to Kawhi Leonard and Anthony Davis.
Yes. This is just, I don't know if this is a bias because he's in Milwaukee, but the negativity I've heard of over all the scales of all national media and around, it's been perplexing for real. Very seriously. So that's kind of upset me more than anything, but I'm still excited to see what's going to happen coming forward, like what the Bucks are actually going to do, who they're actually going to get in the draft and all that. So that's what's got me on my heels as far as that.
Yeah, no question. All right, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. It's frustrating as a Bucks fan just to hear all this. Again, it's not even that I disagree with it, but the fact that they're just forcing it down everybody's throat, kind of setting the Bucks up to get screwed in this deal of laying out why they shouldn't get a lot in this deal at the end of the day for Giannis, who, again, could very well go out and have an MVP type year next year. He very well could. He put up really good numbers this year. When he was actually healthy, he put up great numbers. I mean, this isn't a guy that's, going to retire in the next year or two. You've got several years left in this deal.
Well, and I don't want to, give the big time media a break, but at the same time, like, I don't think they're lying. I don't think they're going out here and just making up narratives. I think this is truly how these NBA GMs and these front offices are thinking. These guys know basketball. They know what they're doing. And if they think that there's potential injury concern moving forward with Giannis because he's an older player, because his style of play is extremely aggressive, all these other things that you've seen other players break down in the past with, yes, they weren't the same caliber of player as Giannis is, but he could still have the same kind of deterioration that's you've seen with a Blake Griffin in the past, players like that. So I think that's something to worry about. And all these GMs want to win the trade. They're not going to go and just try to just automatically give the Bucks what they want. They still want to at least give it a shot themselves.
Correct. Yeah, no question about it. And that's the part of this that I think is going to come down to what owner wants Giannis. Because for being straight about this, got to pay this guy a lot of damn money. It's guaranteed money now. You can't just come and be like, oh, I'm free and clear of the rest of the contract like the NFL. You got to pay him everything. So I think if you are Pat Riley, or if you're the GM in Dallas, or if you're the GM Boston, Brad Stevens, whoever it may be, right? You kind of got to go to ownership and go, hey, we want to do this, but they've made it very well known that we got to give them the super max extension or whatever. Are you okay with it? The NBA owner has to give their blessing that they're willing to spend all this money on this dude going forward. So you have to have that, because if you don't have that and you're just renting him for essentially one season, I don't think that's going to work out all that well either. I don't think it's going to work out whatsoever. I see another one on here. Proposed trade: Miami would receive Kyrie Irving and send Tyler Hero, a Jaime Jaquez Jr., and a 2031 first-round pick swap to Dallas. That would be something.
That kind of seems like an overpay to me.
But think about it. If they make a move for Kyrie, what does that do to the Giannis market? Like, does that change everything as far as who's in, who's out, and who's willing to play? Does it actually hurt the Bucks if they decide, nope, we're not doing Giannis, we're going to go get Kyrie instead? Because you're giving up less?
I don't think so. I think Kyrie at this point in his career is a tier below Giannis. I don't know if that type of trade really affects him. I think Kawhi Leonard still has played well enough to be that tier of player. That changes the market maybe a little bit. I don't know if Kyrie does right now.
Let's see here. Let's go to Ram, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Tyler Hero, if he's the centerpiece of the deal, how would you feel about that in a trade for Giannis?
Well, I like the two systems. I like Tyler Hero. Actually, I know the family. I think he's a good player. He's a good shooter. And I like the Miami and the Golden State Warriors system of training players. Those are two of the top systems. Like, the players that leave from their team, they're mostly good players on other teams. And I wouldn't have a problem with that. Now, the problem I have is that with the Bucks, outside of Giannis and maybe Turner, who we got that got trade value?
Well, the one report I saw earlier today was if Giannis is going to Miami, that they're having to take Bobby Portis with them.
And that he's getting put into a lot of the packages
Correct.
For other teams too.
Giannis is it sounds like Giannis is probably wants to bring somebody with him that can be his wingman, because he's going to go into a roster he doesn't know the city and so forth, and wants to be with somebody that he trusts, which makes sense. Makes sense.
Okay. Now, coming back this way, Ware, I think it's a solid player. I think he's a solid player. I've seen him in college. I've seen what he's done in Miami.
Well, if you get Ware, then you have to trade Turner.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, but our problem is that if you got Hero, now we need a backcourt, and I just don't trust Rollins or
KPJ.
Kevin Porter. No. Okay, when you talk about going far in the playoffs, I just don't. I see those guys now. They're going to be role players on other teams, spark plugs off the bench. I think they missed their window for that. So if you're saying like a Kyrie or Devin Booker, you're talking about winning, you need impact players like that. That's going to come with the Bucks. But if you're not talking about that, we're just having this conversation. It's just going to be an ongoing summer conversation.
It does not appear that they're willing to move Ryan Rollins in any deal. Thanks for the call. That's what it appears. It appears Ryan Rollins essentially might be deemed untouchable by this front office, which we may all disagree on this. A lot of you will agree with the Bucks front office, because I know there's a lot of Ryan Rollins love among the Bucks fan base, which is fine. But again, it's one thing to be Ryan Rollins on a bad team and get your stuff. It's different when Ryan Rollins now has to be the lead scorer, second leading scorer, and you're actually good and people are game planning for you and so forth. Without Giannis, there was nothing to game plan for. Teams just came in, ran their stuff that they run every other night, beat them, and went home. And that was it. There was no game planning involved. And to be honest, a lot of times in the regular season, there's normally not a lot of game planning. That really doesn't start to the playoffs or the last few games of the season when you're really, really trying. Most of the time, you're running your stuff on offense. You're running your stuff on defense. You go over a couple of intricacies about whoever you're playing, Giannis one way or the other, and that's it. And you go play, and you forget about that game as soon as it's over, and you start, getting ready to go play the next game. I think it's different if this is a winning team and Rollins is being relied on to have some big, big impact. Ahmed Greenfield, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Ahmed?
Hey, Sparky, how's it going?
Good.
So I think you're framing this question wrong because the potential Miami Heat deal, I view Tyler Hero's the fifth best asset coming back. If I had to rank all the assets, I would rank the 13th pick number 1, Khalil Ware number 2, the other future first, and swaps as the next best assets. And then Jaime and Hero is basically tied.
Good God. You think worse of Tyler Hero than I do by a lot. Okay.
Yeah. So what I would do, I think he's an okay player. And I think he's an expiring deal. But if I were the Bucks, I would flip him to a third team,
yes,
take back a bad contract, and try to get another first-round pick. I would make sure Hero never arrives in Milwaukee. I would make the Heat find a third team to take Hero back and give us more picks. That's how I would handle Hero.
I'm all about that. Let Hero go somewhere else. Fine, I'm in. Thanks for the call, Ahmed. Man, that's harsh though. He's the last asset of everybody. You're talking about 3 1s, Jaime Jaquez, Khalil Ware, and Tyler Hero. One of those 3 1s is 13. As I've stated, and I'll say it again, this draft has a drop-off after about 8. So not to say that those guys that you get at 10 and 13 can't be good. Yes. Superstar, though, I don't. Maybe. Obviously, we've had superstars come from the middle like Giannis. So obviously anything is possible. But I just think there's more questions than answers. Let's go back to the Dugout YouTube chat over there on Facebook. Landon is participating from Facebook, watching us on the stream. What's up?
Landon wanted to talk some Brewers here. Says needs to bring up Pratt and Laura, send down Perkins and Joey /Renhefo. But if we head on over to Jay Lewis, he says, don't understand why the media is trying to push this Miami trade. These are our Milwaukee Bucks. We cannot allow these big market morons to push us into a corner. Tyler Hero doesn't move the needle.
No. But again, to what Ahmed said, if he goes in a third team, I think that makes more sense than anything. But again, he is expiring $33 million. And that might get you something at the trade deadline if you do get stuck with him, where you can move him at the deadline and do something there. But I would much rather trade him than keep him going forward. Let's see. We got time. Yep. Let's go to Mike in Pewaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Sparky. So I'm just going to echo what a lot of you and the callers have said. I understand, no disrespect to Tyler Hero, but I don't want him either. I mean, it's not like you're going to rebuild the team with him. And even if you happen to get lucky with whatever draft pick you get this year, you know what my whole thing is right now, and it's I feel like just saying, hey, thanks Giannis for the one championship. We're going to be waiting another 50 years. And I hate to say that because I don't necessarily believe it, but man, you talk about what John Hammond didn't get in this dude. I'm sure he didn't expect him to be what he is, but my goodness, it just sucks. I'm not happy that Giannis is going to be leaving, but I don't see a way. The Bucks have done everything in their power. From where I stand, I mean, getting Dame Lillard, getting Drew Holiday, and then they get it. The Bucks have been over backwards to try to make this thing work. It just sometimes doesn't work, and it sucks that Giannis, I think he's being disingenuous with what he said over the past couple of years. I love the guy, and I'm not saying he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, but then at the same time, he said, champions want to stay and make it work. Well, it doesn't seem like he's doing that.
No, I agree with you. I agree with everything that you said. Thanks for the call. No question. They've bent over backwards trying to make this dude happy and trying to keep this championship window open as long as humanly possible. They really have. And I said it before last year, before the Miles Turner thing, that, okay, Lillard's out. Fine. You go to Giannis and be like, look, we're going to suck. But this is the year to suck if we're going to suck because this draft class is loaded. We can get you a superstar, but you've got to let us just kind of tank this year and then build it back up and go from there. And there's just no way he was having that. Like, got to compete for a championship every single year. I've got to compete for a championship. Man, I respect it. I get it. But again, if it's how do I get another championship in Milwaukee, how do I get that? Versus how do I win a championship this year? How do I win a championship this year? How do I win a championship this year? It's me, which it should be, obviously. I mean, you're a superstar. You're one of the best players ever, probably the best player ever to play in a Bucks uniform. I understand that part of it. But what ended up happening did not help the long-term future of this organization.
Just be honest about it. If that's how you're going to act, that's how you're going to act. That's okay. You've earned that right.
Yes.
Just don't hide behind the good guy facade.
Yes. Ryan in Burlington, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Sparky. First and foremost, I think Horst, he really blew this when Lillard went down with that Achilles. Like, that was the time where the phones needed to open. That's the time where, I mean, just think about it. We don't have Giannis this year. We're getting a top 3 pick in a loaded draft with the, I mean,
correct.
I can't even imagine the possibilities of the rebuild. Now, in terms of Tyler coming on board, he's a good player, and I will agree, Ahmed's right. I think I have him a tick higher in terms of the asset value, but not that much higher. I really think if we could flip it, I would do so. I say we just go absolutely all in, bring Ja Morant, which I think we can honestly get for pretty cheap.
Yep.
Bring Ja in, Hero at the shooting guard, and Giannis. I mean, now you're talking. Like, you got those 3, and then you put pieces around them. Hey, it's a huge risk, but John, it's a huge risk, but it's a chance.
Wait a second. How are you? I missed the part where how are you getting Tyler Hero without giving up Giannis?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. You're right. So give up Giannis. I'm just saying, like, if we can package. I'm sorry, my bad. But if we can package somebody else, get a draft pick, and if you have to go out and get Ja to play him with Hero and whatever else you can, I think you could build a team. I would prefer to absolutely tear it down and get every first round pick we can and try to go for it. I'm so sad we're going to lose Giannis, because if we trade him a year earlier, we're talking 5 number 1s with probably a top 3 pick this year, and the future looks so good, and it just looks so poor right now without seeing what we're going to do.
I got you. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Ja Morant has 2 years left on his deal. His cap number this year is 42.1. His cap number is 44.8 in the 27 season. Tyler Hero's cap number is 33 million. If Memphis is the third team and Tyler Hero goes there on an expiring, which they would want, everybody continues to say in order for somebody to take Ja Morant, they're going to have to include a first-round pick in order to get that done. So if the Bucks get Ja Morant and a first-round pick on top of the 3 1s they're getting from Miami, now you have 4 1s potentially in this deal, and a guy that, if he's really good and going in the right direction, looks like old Ja, and he's playing for Taylor Jenkins, who coached him at Memphis, you potentially can move him at the deadline or next offseason as an expiring contract and continue to build draft capital going forward. That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about 3-way with Memphis, but maybe.
Kind of sounds about how OKC went about trading for Chris Paul and then moving out for Chris Paul.
Exactly correct. Yes. So Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
And the pitch. Pratt hits a high drive. Deep left field. Sable back on the track at the wall. Gone for Pratt. A towering 2-run homer.
When do we get Cooper Pratt in Milwaukee for Levering to make a call on a Cooper Pratt home run? That was last night in the Nashville Sounds game. Cooper Pratt with a big home run. I'm telling you, man, at some point, are we going to get Cooper Pratt this year?
Just one of them. Doesn't even have to be Pratt. Just somebody. Just Laura. Could be Jet Williams. Maybe Jesus Madej. I keep fingers crossing for that, man.
No chance that's happening.
One day, man. One day.
Oh, well, one day. It's not going to be this year.
I mean, one day this year. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just not. I doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. I mean, that's kind of the thing right now for me, from a Brewers perspective of how much longer are you going to go with the left side of that infield before you make a move? And the more David Hamilton plays well, the less chance you have of seeing anybody come up from AAA to play on the left side of that infield. I'm just telling you.
He's making me so mad. Like, I'm happy he's playing well, but like also I want to see one of these guys so bad, and he just keeps prolonging it.
He's prolonging it. That's exactly right. And you know what else is prolonging it? Them winning baseball games. Yeah. That's also prolonging it.
Even though
when
they
you're
suck,
the hottest team,
when
you're like the hottest team in baseball for the last month and a half, why do they need to make a move? There's no reason to touch the roster. Yeah, they're struggling, but we're winning anyhow. So there's no need to go get one of these guys from AAA or AA and bring these guys up here.
You could win more
fun. Have you heard how important David Hamilton is basically on a game-to-game basis for the Brewers?
Are you asking me how important?
Yeah,
we were just talking about he's screwing over the guys that we want to see play come up from AAA.
In games the Brewers win this year, David Hamilton is hitting .330 with an .860 OPS. In games they lose this year, he's hitting 80 with a 300 OPS.
Yep. You're never going to see Cooper Pratt. It's never going to happen. He keeps doing that crap. It's just never going to happen. And I still owe Tommy Wendy's because Cooper Pratt didn't get here by June 1st.
Man, we can double down until July 1st.
Nope, not happening. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's the big old hunk of love over there, Tommy Wirtz. He comes up next with Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Tune